Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about the importance of the underpainting, the value and the hue that we use can really be a very good basis for our painting. In this example, in this tutorial, I will show you how a painting will come to life by using the right values and the right underpainting to start with. For this painting we are going to use titanium white, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, viridian green, alizarin crimson, but permanent alizarin crimson, as the other one could fade out very quickly. Then we have permanent red, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, cadmium lemon, and to the left I've put some burnt sienna. So I'll put the picture there on the bottom left, and this picture we are not going to follow every single thing. As always, we need to be artistic with pictures, as pictures often lie to you. They have not the good exposure, the values are lying to you, the shadows are lying to you, so you need to adapt the pictures to your painting. The lines will be quite important. It would be, after the design, the second important thing in a painting. But again, you need to be creative, not follow 100% the picture, as often in a picture you got some repetitive lines or objects, forms that you want to break down. You want to make sure that the painting will always be pleasing on the eyes, and the way to make it pleasing is to break up the forms. I forgot to mention here that I use mineral spirit as a thinner. So once you have done your design that you're happy with, you are going to start to make the foreground, background. Starting, for me, I'm starting with background here, but it's not necessary. You can start with the foreground. The idea is to have a value that works as an atmospheric perspective, so to say that you go back in space by lightening your darks. I like to start with something very cold to start with in my layers and getting warmer as I come forward. So here, as you can see, we made a violet, quite dark, but I started too dark, so I lightened it up a little bit with the white. My second layer will be a little warmer, so it will be the same mix but with a bit more red in it to get it to come forward. General rule of thumb is to have warmer colors in the front and cooler colors in the back. So once we have done that second or third, even third layer, that second and the third is very similar, as you can see. If you squint, we have just a difference of hue, but not really a difference of value. Now the foreground trees will be darker, a little darker, so always squint your eyes if you want to see the difference of the layers. And sometimes it is difficult to pick up at the start with. We have to let the paint set a little bit to see the foreground coming through. And at the final foreground, I'm really cooling sorry, I'm really warming everything down. I try here, as there is distance, but I want to have that first hill with the first foreground coming really forward. I keep it at the same value. So next I'm going to put in the sky, and this is a debate for many. Some prefer to put the sky first, some prefer to put it last or in the middle, etc, etc. Sometimes I wait even to have a few details in the painting before I put the sky in. It's all up to you, but the temperature of the sky will set the whole picture. So if your subject, your main subject, is more in the foreground, you need to paint it first, as this will set the temperature, and so you can adjust the sky to it. Now it is time to mix the light side, and for that you can see that I mix it right next to the dark. I left some on the palette. See, there's all the darks that I mixed are still on the palette, so I can judge my light to that. In the far background, where it is the coolest, we need to be just half a step away value wise for it to read properly. So be careful not to go too light. It's not because we put the light side on that we have to be very light. It has to be a muted color, and therefore you are going to have the right effect all the time. You can also play, but that will be in another video, with those shadows. It can be lots of fun, actually. Here, for the purpose of this video, we are just going to put straightforward some simple basic highlights, but soon it will make this whole image come alive. So for now, the shadow side, we are going to modify some character of the painting. Some bits are going to be darker and maybe a slight different hue. However, we are going to keep the same value. All we want here is really to make the forms come alive now. So for this layer, again, we mix it straight next to the paint, and as you can see, I am very, very light. Note how those values are very close together. So now we're going to mix a dark, which starts to have a little green, viridian green in it, to form the trees. So now again, we can have fun to shape trees that we can see in that far distance. Only working in the shadow to start with. Making sure again we are not repeating the forms. Also in distance, watch details you won't see many of them, so don't put them in. Even if in your picture it would show some details, refrain from putting them in. Okay, next I'm putting the highlights on the hill. Again, be very careful with that. We can start to get a little warmer, but don't go too bright too quickly. This paint is wet on wet, so it will mix with the underlayer. The more you work it, the more it will mix. Now on the highlights of the trees. Be careful not to dot them. Many of you are tempted on dotting loads of leaves, and that wouldn't read properly. So just concentrate on the form. Shadow, light. Often 1 or 2 strokes is better than many small dots. And the foam shadow is important as well. On the trees here you can see in the shadow side where the light doesn't hit, you still can see some branches forming, but no details of course, and cooler. So now we'll get a little forward and working a bit lighter. Have a quick look on the palette. You can see I keep all the colors around so I can check the values every time to make sure I am putting the right value on top of my background, my underpainting, I mean, every time. So don't be shy, use loads of paint, especially in the highlights. By using loads of paint, it will pop. It will really come out. So now I'm wiping away where the trees would be in front of that hill. We want, as the paint there is quite thick, we don't want too much paint to layer on top of each other. It's better to wipe it away to be able to have a good basics before we start to put the highlights and everything else on. So always starting with the shadows. I say always, it is better because it's easier to put a highlight on a shadow, but you don't have to. You can start with the light if you want to. So now it's time for the light. Once more, I'm getting a little brighter. See, I'm not dotting it around, I'm just checking where the form is, where the light hits, and I put my stroke down. You have to be careful to leave some of the darks. And I do the entire row in that same way. As you can see, I put the layer on thick, and I will come back to it now and work it in. Work the edges, etc. Here I change the shape of the tree. I put some darkest dark in again to give it a little bit more form. As it's a hot day, and this picture is a picture taken from Australia, so the sun is burning hot, in some instances you will have in the shadows some quite nice colors. It won't be all dark. You will see in the shadows, and therefore have a little bit more leafy things coming through. However, you have to be careful to really render that light and shadow still. Okay, foreground. Now, foreground, it's straight opposite to the sky, so it will have the most of the light. Therefore, we go even lighter and warmer with our color. Now, you can already see how this picture is taking shape and how it comes alive. And this is really because of that big work that we put in first of the underpainting, which is very, very important to the whole picture. You can't get this effect if you start, like most beginners do, with the details and the light first. It's not possible. So now just a few strokes. Again, see how that paint is thick. And that will be it for this demonstration, as we kept it just for really the importance of the underpainting, the form and the value. That's all I can say about this very painting. So thank you, and I hopefully see you soon in my next tutorial. Please don't forget to get me a blue thumb and to like and to share. Thank you. Enjoy your painting.